Welcome. What's up, friends? My name is Todd Cook. First, I want to say thank you so much for joining us on the Foam and Friends podcast, where we sit down with people just like you to talk about the spray foam industry and our lives as SPF professionals on and off the job. It's a podcast for us and by us in an effort to bring like-minded people together. Please like, subscribe, and follow to ensure you don't miss any episodes or a chance to get to know your fellow industry professionals. All right, let's get this thing started, shall we? Vinnie!
Todd, how we doing?
I'm doing good. It's almost summer here in Michigan now.
Yep, it's getting hot.
It's feeling like it. Loving it. This is the only reason we live in Michigan is because we get about 3-4 months of decent weather.
That's right.
What do you do in the summer?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Well,
Besides work.
My folks got a place up in Grayling.
Nice.
So we go up there in the summer. Last summer we were just moving in our house, so that kept us pretty busy. And
oh yeah.
We have a little vacation plan coming up in June, taking a week off. We're going to what's over on the northern east side?
Northern east side of Michigan?
Yeah, up north.
Alpena.
Oh, so we're doing a night in Alpena, and then we're road tripping to Mackinac City for 2 nights. And then we're going to loop back over to Petoskey for the day, and then back to Grayling to my folks' cabin.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't introduce you. First off, no, that's my fault. Vinnie Crego is owner
Crego.
of Crego. I was going to ask you that too. Like, how do you pronounce that? Because
Hardy.
I've heard a couple different ways. Hardy. What's Hardy?
Hard E in there. Crego.
Hard E. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Owner of Mid Michigan Spray Foam, and you're out of what's the city?
Morris, Perry.
Okay.
Gotcha. Area. Yep.
Let me find out what do you guys all do? What are all your services at Mid Michigan Spray Foam?
So we do open cell, closed cell spray foam, concrete leveling. We do fiberglass and cellulose, blower door testing. We've done in the in-wall injection foam. We also do dense packing in-wall with cellulose. So
you're not scared of nothing.
We're getting after it.
You are. Yeah. How many people you got with you
now? 15 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Killing it. That's awesome. What got you going? What got you started? And let's say, did you start out with just spray foam?
Yep. Just started out with spray foam, just doing closed cell.
That's me.
And yeah.
That's me.
So we started out in 2016. I had 2 partners, and I went to Central Michigan University, fired up chips.
Chippewas.
So I went up there to be a special education and history teacher.
Oh,
so I graduated from there, and all through college I was doing asbestos removal. I got a gig doing that. So I was used to the mask and the suits already. Okay. So yeah, my dad and my cousin thought there'd be a good opportunity in the spray foam business. I guess they thought it was easy money.
I did too. I got a funny story about that too.
And so I was just doing asbestos removal. I'd graduated, just kind of trying to find a teaching job, and we just kind of sitting around talking one night and hatched this idea. And I basically put the sweat equity in and kind of ran it mostly by myself, and was a one-man band for a year or two with a helper here or there.
Yep.
And then it got weird. I got offered like a long-term, like a position as a teacher, as a long-term sub.
After being in foam for how long?
Probably a year or 2 in. I was like, I just got to know. Like, I got to make sure I make the right call here. So I went out and tried the teaching and hired a sprayer. That was kind of my first jump into, like, all right, I got to hire a sprayer now. So hired a sprayer, and then I was kind of taking calls and emails, and it's, all on my planning periods and whenever I had a spare time, running bids after work and on the weekends. And I just finally, I was like, you got to figure out which one you want to do. One.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's double down. So we really got into the spray foam after that.
So you had one rig for how long, and then what was your second big buy after that?
Start off with one E20. And then like cellulose rig accompanied that.
Okay.
Probably took us 3 years before we bought our second rig. It was another E20.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, we got really big, we got really small. Now we're growing a little bit slower again, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
How's are things starting to pick up right now? I know winter was pretty tough on a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah, thank God I had shop work for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you got money to pay them too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we yeah, we were kind of slower in the winter, but you kind of learn the cycles after being in a while.
Oh yeah,
I
I've
mean,
noticed that myself.
they're still scary whenever they come, but it's like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a slow time. It's okay.
I know. I kind of feel like, after like the holidays, January's still pretty busy, and then it really starts to slow down, it seems like. And that first year I was like, I feeling like I had a bunch of money because I was making it all fall, and then all of a sudden, February, March, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to learn to save your money in the fall. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to learn. Yeah, it's not always like this, but you
Right.
get used to it when you're in the thick of it.
Right.
In fall, you're like,
yeah.
oh yeah, it's always like this. And then
Yeah.
you forget, it's like, oh no, it dries up for a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, right now I feel like all the ones that broke ground after frost laws
Yep.
are now ready.
Yeah.
So we're slammed.
So what is your, let's say, what is your biggest, do you have a bunch of, do you have builders, or what is your biggest customer, would you say?
You know what? Yeah. Like the builders, that just takes time to build up.
Yeah.
Relationships and clientele. So that so I do think starting in 2016 and it being 2024 now, I think we've built up a pretty good like contractor base. Yeah. So that's been a blessing for us. And we still get the homeowners, a lot of homeowners, which is good. Like we need them too, but those are, those are kind of one-time customers.
Right.
So it's nice to have builders.
Yeah. They can tell their friends and that helps, but that's,
Yeah.
So, have you noticed a change in homes being built? Because I've heard a lot of people, one person, for example, is like, yeah, we're not doing, this is a very large company that they're like, yeah, we don't do near as many homes this year as we had in the past few years, but we're doing apartment buildings, and that's kind of getting us by. And I was thinking, wow, that's quite a shift. Have you noticed that or not really?
Not for me. No.
Okay.
No, I'm not surprised.
I mean, I don't get into that deep of commercial stuff. I'm mostly just residential, so I wouldn't really notice it so much anyway. But
yeah, we're saying we're not doing too much commercial, but I do know, like it seems like builders are not getting as stretched out as far with so many projects going. They're kind of doing a couple at a time instead of a whole subdivision or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it just seems like there's less. But I don't know what it is. If it sounds to me like interest rates probably has a big thing. I mean, who would give up a 3 or 3.5 or whatever % interest rate on a house they have to sell that and then get a new loan for 7.5 or 8%? I mean, that's just crazy.
Nobody.
Everybody's just going to stay put.
We're locked down.
I think that's the way it's going to be for a while. Especially a lot of those people, 3% for we got 27 or 26 years left on a 30-year. I mean, you might as well stick around where you're at. You're not gonna.
Yeah, but people are still building houses.
I know it. Where are they getting all this money?
So I don't really understand. So I don't know if it's like the boomers kind of just like want a new home. Like doesn't seem like kind of the younger generation would be able to afford new houses.
You wouldn't think so, but I mean, they're paying. A house that used to be worth, let's say 6-7 years ago was worth $200,000 is now worth $375,000. And they're looking at 7.5% interest. Like that's a lot to chew.
But they want the American dream.
I know it. I know it.
It doesn't matter, I guess.
But and then there's a lot more people now with dual incomes, so that helps.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to do the Dave Ramsey approach these days.
So,
yeah.
That's good.
Trying to get out of debt and all that good stuff.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good. I saw in a post that you put up a little while ago that you're on the carnivore diet. Is that still going? That was a few weeks ago, I think.
I brought the jerky.
Oh, you got the jerky. Oh, yeah. Speaking of the jerky, tell me about it.
Oh, that's just some beef jerky. I made it with hamburger meat and it goes in like a caulk gun. And we have a dehydrator that's got like 20 trays on it. So when I make it, takes a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we bag it and package it, and freeze it. So that's pretty much all I eat all day.
Let's rip that thing open and take a taste of it.
All right.
What flavor is this one?
I don't know. I forgot to label it.
Oh,
I'd have to warn you though.
What's that? You got to warn me?
Yeah.
Is there like a really spicy one or something?
You could call it that.
Okay.
No, there's liver. There's beef liver in it.
Oh, okay. Well, if I have that and I can taste the liver, it might be my last bite.
Yeah.
My mom used to make me eat liver when I was a kid, and I ate it. Didn't love it.
I ruined this whole batch doing that because I never had liver. I was like, I'll just throw it in there. You won't be able to taste it.
Oh, big mistake.
Oh yeah, you can taste it. So that's why I'm giving this shit away.
Okay.
This stuff
all right.
Away.
All right. Well, let's let me see how much you can taste it.
No, but for real, what I've been doing.
It'll remind me of like 35, 40 years ago when my mom made me eat it.
If you hold it up to the light, you can see the dark spot. That's liver.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's good.
I'm not the liver king, man.
All right. Oh, Jamie, you want to try some of this stuff or what?
There you go, Jamie.
I don't see anything that's too dark. Maybe some pepper I see in there, but that's it. It's really thin. I like that. Almost like bacon. Yeah.
I tried doing bacon jerky too.
I can taste it a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Gotta get those vitamins.
Lessons learned, right? I mean, that's what you talk about, like it takes you all day long. It's like, I remember I used to brew beer a lot, like before I had kids. I really haven't done it since my son's 9 years old and I haven't done it, but yeah, it was an all day affair, brewing and bottling and holy cow. But it was fun. I'd like to get back into it someday. I do enjoy it. So,
yeah.
Let's see here. Your current role in the company is just owner, right? I mean, like, what are you're not out there spraying, and are you doing that or no?
Normal week. It's pretty cool. So Mondays, Thursdays, I go out and estimate. So I'm still looking at projects and selling. And then
Mondays and Thursdays, you said?
Yeah. And then Tuesdays, Wednesdays, this time of year, I'm leveling.
Yeah. I want to talk about that too in a minute.
Okay. And then man, we went for it. We went down to 4-day weeks.
You're still there or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fridays, I usually still go up to the office, take my son into school. Then I go up to the office and it's kind of quiet. I can get some like side projects done and
yeah, that's nice.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you got to take advantage of it. Because you're not going to get that in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like working on the website and
you do your own
efficiency. Website? No, but just working with getting the edits and shout out Mixer Media.
Shout out to Mixer Media.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that's what it looks like. And then managing, that is that's a big part of like, that's why I like my estimating time, because then I'm in my truck.
Yeah.
I can think about our processes and what we're doing, what we can improve. So that's a big time to like utilize, just like, well, if we put them there and them here and rotate and we can do this job. So scheduling and just how to utilize everybody's time and run an efficient business.
Just keep changing it up, making it better.
Yeah. Fine tuning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So how many rigs you got now? How many, let's say, spray foam rigs do you have?
We have 3 GH2 rigs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one of those, we got to talk about the, well, let's talk about the concrete lifting.
Okay.
You've been doing that for what, a couple of years now?
Shoot, probably 4.
Oh, really?
4 years. Yeah. Took 2 years to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I'm like, I don't know. I think it would be, obviously everybody says there's just a bunch of money and it's great.
Definitely better profit margins on the spray foam side.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like, not that I don't trust anybody else at my company to do it, because I know I have guys that would do a good job, but it's very like unforgiving.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I haven't really trained anybody because it's like, you don't get a lot of second chances when you over raise concrete when it's too high. I mean, that's kind of it. So
then you got to like raise the rest of it or something to try to like make up for it or whatever.
But then if you're like up against a garage or something, if it over raises there, like, you're done. So I kind of keep that to myself, but it keeps me, outside in the summer, which is cool.
Sure.
I used to mow lawns a lot in the summer, so that kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
What was like have you ever had to tear concrete out that or did you ever have to do anything like that? Or what was, let's say, the worst experience you've had?
Oh, this is when I was learning. A guy, he had a boiler on a slab that had been like a outside wood boiler.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And he wanted that raised, and I hit one of his pipes.
Oh, with the drill bit?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
man.
That just opened up that pipe, and that opened up the foam to go right into that.
Oh, man.
Right into that.
That
boiler. So it filled the pipes in the boiler, and then wasn't great.
Yeah.
So every time something like that happens, you add another item line to the contract. We'll not lift anything around with underground utilities or anything,
Oh, yeah. Or if you do, it's like it's on you. But you don't want to get into that. So one of those rigs that you have has your big win in San Antonio.
That's my concrete leveling rig.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, I put her in there.
That was like, I think that was the first time that I've ever like met you, and it was just a quick, congratulations, because I knew your name. That was about it.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying you were on stage accepting the. For those of you that don't maybe know listening, San Antonio was 2022. That was the SBFA, and the second place. This was the year that Karen Weichert won the rig.
Shout out,
and
Karen.
that was the first place. And then the second place was a Winco. What was it, like a 50 kilowatt diesel generator?
Yeah.
And you won that. And what I thought was really funny is like you brought a bunch of guys down. What did you have, like 5 or 6 guys from your company?
5 or 6.
And you guys were all crammed into that truck?
Yep.
So you drove from Michigan to San Antonio in a crew cab truck.
Correct.
And which alone was like, why would you do that? I mean, I get it. You're probably trying to save money. It's probably cheaper than airfare and all that.
I have personal beef against flying at that time.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we went to the event. Where was that in Texas? The one before that during COVID.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
Where was that one at?
Was it Dallas?
No.
El Paso?
No.
Houston?
They do the running of the bulls. The Longhorns.
I didn't know they did that in Texas. I thought that was just in Spain. I don't know.
No, it's all right. Somebody's gonna be mad that I don't remember this. But I forget the town.
Right. You'll remember it. Done.
But we went down there and took my daughter, she was probably 1 or 2.
Okay.
And then on the way home, our flights got canceled, and me and Stacy, who like manages, she was down there with me, and we had guys that had to work, and then my daughter was with us, and we didn't. They lost our stroller, so then we were delayed there like 2 or 3 days, and in a hotel with like a sick baby, and we didn't have our stroller, so we had to carry her everywhere. So it
was a nightmare.
Anyway, that was crazy. So I'm not flying anymore. Yeah, so that's why we drove down there, and good thing we did.
Right, that's what I was getting to. Like, you drove this big truck. I mean, you could have drove like a van or something, and that wouldn't have really helped out you getting that Winco generator home. But you drove this truck, and it's like a 3/4 ton or whatever. So you just loaded it up, and you're like, all right, cool, and you drove it back to Michigan.
Yeah.
That worked out very well.
Well, if you know more of the story, it worked out more well than you would think, because we were just coming off kind of a tough time in business, and I was kind of running an E20 kind of Frankenstein rig to do my lifting. I finally kind of learned at this time, all right, I think I know what I'm doing. If I can just get my equipment to run right, maybe I could make some money at this. So we sold that rig, and throughout the winter, I was working on getting a new rig put together to level in the spring. And then it turns out they were giving away that generator, and we're coming off a pretty tough season in business. And so I really needed a break, kind of. And we went down there and just kind of found Jesus recently at that time.
Awesome.
And we're walking around there, dude, and I'm praying to God in my head, like, God, if I can just, if you just bless us with one of these pieces of equipment, I probably like just bartering with him like
Yeah,
that,
right.
like that works. But
Wow.
like, Jesus, please, like, we can just bring one of these home. As I'm praying that, we come up to a stoplight, and I look down, and written in the dried concrete is Jesus Saves.
Wow.
As I'm praying this. And I audibly like freaked. I'm like, you guys, I told my whole group, I'm like, I was praying about this, and then this is right here, and I think we're gonna win something tonight.
And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's crazy.
Our boss is nuts.
And we won that thing, man.
That's a wild.
And that was the last piece that I didn't buy yet. That I was probably gonna have to finance, to be honest, to get in that rig to get it going.
Oh wow!
And I was able to drive that sucker home.
Cow. That's a great story.
Crazy.
Thanks for telling. That's an awesome story. I'll tell you my short story about San Antonio. This was the first event that I've gone to. So I didn't even realize like Spray Foam Worldwide. I was spraying for like well over a year before I even did Facebook. I was the kind of guy like I don't need Facebook because I don't want like everybody. No one needs to know like what I had for dinner and that sort of thing. It was kind of weird back then. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I kind of did, and then I got on a Spray Foam Worldwide, and I thought, after it didn't take long, and I'm like, wow, this is really helping me a ton.
You get hooked.
I don't even know where I would be without social media and Spray Foam Worldwide. I mean,
agreed.
My phone would definitely not look as good as it does today.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But anyway, so 22 in San Antonio was my first year. I went by myself. I didn't know a single person. I mean, the only people I knew were people that I've seen on Facebook. So I was kind of feeling sort of weird about it.
Oh, yeah.
And, you kind of get those, trying to you're just somebody.
It's like the first time you eat lunch alone.
Yeah, it is. And so anyway, so I get there, and I think I flew in on Sunday. I got there a little bit early because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And then I just slept. And then the next day I went out and kind of figured out where people were at, and, interjected myself in some of the crowds and everything. And by the end of Monday night, I was kind of feeling like, man, I don't really feel kind of weird,
Not feeling it.
Like sick kind of.
Oh,
I'm like, man, I'm kind of feeling kind of sick. And it wasn't maybe 2 hours later, and I mean, I'm puking and everything. I got it all, man. And I figured that I had gotten COVID. So literally the whole time that I was there, with exception from when I saw you and you won, I'm like, I have to at least get out and go to see this thing. Heck, I might win the rig. You never know. Like, I'm not going to miss that. So I got myself out and not feeling worth a dang, and I saw you, and I probably shook your hand, and sorry about that if I gave it to you. I don't know, maybe I did, I'm not sure, but and so I was basically just in my room the whole time. It was brutal. It was bad, but I'm still glad I went, and then I still kept going to all the other ones.
Broke the ice for the next one for you.
It did. It totally did. It definitely did break the ice, so that was great. But yeah, it was unfortunate. So hey, let's switch this up a little bit. You've had you and your wife have had a pretty rough year. You've already agreed to talk about it, so I'm not making you.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. There's a lot of people out there probably listening that knew a little about it.
Yeah. At some point, I prayed a lot about it and kind of made a decision that to kind of honor Augusta.
Let's go back to the beginning, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So when I saw you in Minnesota last summer, your wife was there with you, and she was probably like 5 or 6 months pregnant, maybe at the time.
Yeah. So actually, a year ago this month in May, we found out that our daughter Augusta had the markers for a genetic disorder called trisomy 18.
Okay.
If you Google it, it's not compatible with life.
Okay.
So that's what you do as soon as you hear that. You start Googling, right?
Of course.
So we're reading that, and oh man, if you Google it, yeah, just kind of some of the deformities and some of the things that can go along with it are, pretty tragic. I mean, you name the deformity, it's it's possible. It's just
like everything's possible.
Yeah,
everything bad is
yeah,
possible.
and like the percentages that most like don't even make it to birth. So from May until her due date was right after Labor Day. It was kind of like even like it got really hard and good when Augusta arrived, but even from that May until that September, it was like, did she kick today?
Oh yeah, so every day is like you're on edge.
Like, all right, online it says she's not going to make it to birth even. So, and did you feel her today? Calling in and checking
and you got kind of pressure from the doctors to abort.
Yeah, we had 2 doctors. I don't know if I want to say recommend abortion or suggested it, but but kind of said like this is what most people do.
Okay, so you didn't get too much pressure. It was just kind of a recommendation.
Yeah, but I mean, when 2 doctors tell you that this is what this is what you should do. I don't want to like throw anybody on their bus, but it felt like it was like this is what you need to do. You need to abort your baby. So we also had that, from the start, and then we had appointments, and she was underweight. So then we really had to change our mindset living in that kind of agony to like, every kick is a blessing, every nudge is a blessing, like we won a trip through our kids' karate class to Disney. So we were able to take Augusta to Disney in Florida last summer. She was with us there,
That's awesome.
So she went to Disneyland, and
that was pretty gutsy.
Yeah. It's like we're gonna live our life and take her on our adventures, and we're enjoying our time with her. So fast forward to Labor Day, we go up north to my family's cabin, and we have family there, and it's like, I don't know, we could have sat around the house just kind of thinking about Tuesday, what it was gonna be like, or we tried going up north, but that was hard too. Like we were just thinking about what was coming. So we're at the hospital, and Augusta's born, and she's perfect. She's got all her fingers and her toes, and she's adorable, and she's alive.
How many other kids do you have? You got 2, right? 3?
Clark, he's about to turn 10. June just turned 5. Owen's about to turn 2.
I got an Owen too. You got 3 of them. Okay. So this was number 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And she's born, and we're just praying over her, and I don't know, to put it bluntly, just kind of waiting for her to die, I guess, from what everybody told us. And even our nurse at the hospital was like, oh yeah, my last trisomy 18 lived for 2 minutes. But she was trying to say it encouraging.
Oh, that's not very encouraging.
I know. I don't think she was like, when you're in our
at least
position,
she was alive for a little while.
I don't like when you're in our position, you're a little oversensitive to some of that stuff, but it was hurtful. But so that was told to us. So we're just holding her and loving on her, and then she's doing okay. So then it's time to go home, and we take her home, and thinking we're not going to have time. And then a week goes by, and then a couple weeks, and there's at one point, so we took her home on hospice from the hospital. Some of her birth problems, they weren't totally on the outside, but she had, for lack of a better understanding, like a half of a heart.
Okay.
But really, it was stuff was twisted, and some of it was too big, some of it was too small, and so, but she kept kind of living and fighting and doing well. So we're like, oh, maybe we go to the doctor and see what we can do. So we heard of a really good doctor over in Grand Rapids, but it just so happens he was on vacation. So he had a colleague that wouldn't take our case.
Yeah.
So we had one doctor to kind of tell us, no, like, we're not going to do anything for her. And Steph and I were very like conscientious to make sure we weren't just doing stuff to Augusta. Not doing stuff not to her, but for her. Like if it would extend her life, and we always had to check ourselves. Like, are we being selfish in these decisions that we're making for her just to keep her, like,
oh, right. Like, yeah, let her go if she needs to go.
Right.
And, okay, I got you.
Like we never went in with like an all or nothing philosophy, which is also kind of torture to have that mindset.
Absolutely.
But it's like, yeah, we're just not going to throw everything we can at her and just put her through grief. But we did. So that doctor came back, and probably a couple weeks before that, Augusta had started breathing pretty heavy, and she was turning colors, and the hospice nurse came over and gave us 24 hours left with her. Whoa. And we just held her and loved her and prayed on her, and I mean, 2 days later, she was fine. And the hospice nurse is like, I can't explain why she's here.
That's crazy. You and your wife must have a completely different relationship since her. Hopefully. I mean, I'm guessing. Yeah. I'm guessing for the better. You guys are probably a lot stronger together than you were before.
Yeah. It's definitely brought us closer together. Like it's like a bond that you can't really describe.
I mean, you guys were fighting. You guys were in the thick of it together, and that's what you had, is the two of you.
I went and talked to a therapist for a little bit afterwards, and it's like, oh, I've never seen a patient like you. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, somebody that's like there's post-traumatic stress, but like, he's like, you're not post-traumatic. You're like, you're in it. You're in the traumatic stress right now.
I mean, and this was in the fall. I mean, this is during busy season. I have no clue how you managed everything. And I was thinking about that actively. Like, how is he doing this? It's like November, December, Christmas and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. God works in great ways, and I have some great guys and gals that work for me, and I knew I wasn't going to be around as much. I wanted to be there for Augusta more, so we made some moves in management in the company and kind of shifted things around and kind of threw a big pass up, and it's beautiful. It worked great, and it's kind of helped us grow a little bit more, and some of our guys in their management roles now, and I couldn't have done it, been there for my daughter if it wasn't for all them, and they know who they are. All you guys, thank you. Mm-hmm. So that was a blessing that, that I had those people in my life to be able to do that with the business. And I was able to spend a lot of time with my daughter and my family. But, I went from, we found out at the hospital that we didn't feel comfortable leaving Augusta alone at all. So me or Steph always had to be there. So, my parents and family helped a lot with the kids, but I became, Mr. Dad too.
At home.
Taking care of 3 kids, and that was tough.
Holy cow.
Like that's a shock to the system a little bit. So that took some getting used to. And so where was I? Yeah. Got sidetracked.
So getting towards the end, what was the day she finally passed? Was it February?
No, it was January. Yeah, it was mid-January. Man, I don't know the exact date. It's all kind of a blur to me. But to be fair, I don't know any dates.
That's okay. How was it with your kids? They must have been hard on them.
Yeah, we went to some grief share counseling, and it was hard on them, but they're like very resilient.
Yeah, they are.
Owen, maybe a little too young, but he'll still see pictures of Augusta.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
June, she misses her sister. Yeah, definitely, and so does Clark. Mm-hmm. Clark's being strong though, and he's helping out more, so that's good. But But, prior to that, I wanted to fill in. There was a story about a Leslie during that. Do you remember seeing anything about that?
No.
So I made a decision and prayed about kind of sharing our story on Facebook. And
are you talking about the video?
No, not the video.
Talk about the video too.
Okay. So just made a decision to kind of share our story on Facebook because we, figured the extra prayers and people praying for us wouldn't hurt. So I was pretty public about what we had going on, and that was kind of a weird decision to make, but
it was. I appreciate you keeping us all involved. That was awesome.
So early on, like this is before we thought we could do anything for Augusta. My wife had a friend in Leslie, and then Leslie got brought up again in some other conversation, and I'm really trying to kind of learn my prayer language, or how you kind of hear from the Holy Spirit and Jesus. So it's like Leslie keeps coming up. Is there something to that? So
this is a person or just a name?
Just the town Leslie near Lansing came up, and then a friend Leslie came up. So 3 Leslies within a couple days. I'm like, how often do you hear about Leslie?
Yeah, that's wild.
So I actually say something to Steph about it, and she writes it down in her journal. And fast forward, that doctor, he comes back and agrees to take Gussie on as a patient. So we go to the hospital and says, I think I can, do some things to Augusta's heart that'll extend her life and make her quality of life better while she's here. So we felt like that was a good move. So we get checked into the hospital, and mind you, I mean, it's kind of pins and needles this whole time with Augusta, between her breathing and her heart rate and stuff. So we get to the hospital, and she's not doing very good. So they kind of calmly hey, we got to get this baby intubated. So they got to put her on breathing. And, we're kind of in shock mode a little bit. We have to hand our baby off. But guess which nurse we handed our baby off to?
Leslie.
Nurse Leslie.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
She wasn't just any nurse. She was like the baller nurse up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like the A team.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
We gave her over to Leslie, and then Augusta was kind of, breathing on machines for a while, trying to get her healthy for surgery. But between all that, then she got an infection in her lungs and got an infection here, and just one thing after another, man. It was just, so then the surgery is delayed, and then that's delayed, and then you're
just getting hit hard.
We're in the hospital for 2 months with her.
Wow.
And so on the day that she has surgery, Leslie wasn't there every day, but Leslie was working the day that Augusta had surgery. And again, Leslie wasn't there every day, but Leslie was there the day that that we got to go home, that we got to take her home. So Leslie definitely played a big part in it all, and God showed us that Leslie was going to be involved in our story, and she was. And
are you still in contact with her?
A little bit.
Yeah.
My wife is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, that was just kind of reassuring. It's just kind of God saying it's gonna be okay. Like I got you.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the math probabilities of Leslie being brought up like that randomly before we know that we can have surgery, before we know what hospital, and then for us to hand our baby off in the arms of Leslie, that was just kind of like, Jesus, I got you guys. It's going to be okay no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got to take Augusta home, and she never really was doing like she should after surgery and stuff. So we took her home on Steph's birthday and had her for a couple of weeks, and we decided to go up north to my parents' cabin, which this is where me and Steph had our wedding at, out back by the river. And I grew up there. My dad built it from scratch. So since 1998, I've been going there. And so it's just very significant.
It's a very peaceful place for you.
Yeah, there's the Asabo River there. So we were up there Friday night, and Saturday morning, Augusta just wasn't doing very good, and she passed away in mine and Steph's arms. And,
that was there, up there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's very fitting.
Yeah. So we got to take her back to the river. We walked to the river with her, and
wow,
it was
holy cow.
I mean, you couldn't have like we really didn't want her in the hospital. Like we were mad at ourselves even over the 2 months. But then once you're there, you're kind of stuck until you can get out.
This is what God wanted.
Yeah. So the fact that she was able to die in our arms with nothing hooked up to her, and it was peaceful. And
right.
Like,
yeah, it's better. It's much better than dying in a hospital.
Could you think of a better ending to that for your life? I mean, that's where I want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you've lived like a decade in that one, like 8 months or whatever it was.
6, 7, 6 months. A lot's changed.
6 months, maybe less than that. Yeah. So the video.
Yeah.
Quick one about the video. I mean, I saw it. You made a post about it, and I mean, amazing. I'm glad you did, because a lot of us that are friends with you and in the industry have been kind of following you and kind of following this journey with Augusta, right?
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of us seen Stephanie when she was pregnant with her in Minnesota, and so we all kind of felt like we were kind of sort of there with you.
Yeah.
And you guys took a ton of pictures of her in her short life. And so did someone make the video, or you guys didn't make that yourself?
I made it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I mean, you put some time into that, especially because you did that between when she passed and the service. So you didn't have a bunch of time. Of course, you had a million other things on your mind.
Yeah, some funeral stuff. Again, like, thank God for everybody at work, but I was able to go into work, and I shut myself in my office that week, and I just worked on that video.
Oh yeah. You did an amazing job. It was, I mean, yeah, it's,
I don't know, for a weird reason, that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's part of the mourning process for you. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. I mean, you did a phenomenal job, and there's not a person that could watch that without getting emotional. I mean, it definitely tugged on your heartstrings. So cool. Good job, Dad.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's switch this up. Unless you got anything more to say about that.
No, if I think of anything, I might just blurt it out.
Okay, that's totally fine.
All right.
This is a segment. This is the end. This is the very end. We're going to get wrapping up here. And this is just fast questions to get to know you. I'll just come up with some of these, and you don't have to come up with it. You can pass them. You can pass on them if you don't have a good answer. Best fast food joint.
I'm on the carnivore. I'm trying to get off that fast food life.
Well, all right, but like before the carnivore, because there's flour and vegetables, and especially flour and everything.
Taco Bell.
There you go. Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too. How many conventions have you been to?
Man, like 5.
5. Wow.
I think between Minnesota and
yeah.
And then the regular conventions.
If you count Minnesota, I'm at 4. Yeah, 4. Best concert you ever been to?
Man, Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah.
But I heard he's a murderer.
A murderer?
Yeah, you haven't heard that?
No, I haven't heard that. I heard some things about him that weren't very, very good, but murderer, no.
That's the word on the street.
Okay.
We'll cover that later.
Yeah, I don't know if that's.
I'd
be shocked.
Save that for the next episode.
He might not be the best person in the world, but I think he genuinely is like a really nice guy. Either that or he's a dang good actor. One of the two.
The conspiracy theory is there's like shush murders every time he has like a tour date in a town.
I can't believe
that's why he's going back on this big tour coming up. He's
got to kill more people.
He's got the itch again.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Man.
Hey, if you have me back on, we'll do
I definitely will.
Conspiracy theories.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm into that.
Okay, I am kind of too.
Big time.
Yeah. The world is. Yeah, a lot of things are like. Okay, that's true. Well, us conspiracy theorists aren't really so crazy after all.
No.
Some stuff is coming out. All right. Worst job you ever had?
Oh, I worked for this guy that owned a construction company when I was like 14, 15, and he had horses, but he would let the horse poop pile up to where it was like 2 or 3 feet thick, man. and I'd have to do it one wheelbarrow at a time out to the garden. Whenever you stuck the pitchfork in there, it'd be 1,000 gnats would just like swarm your eyeballs.
That's a bad job.
So that's the one. You would think that removing asbestos would be the worst, but that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I can see that being a lot of fun.
Well, we got to travel the state a lot and
I see what you mean. You were at like an age where you're like, okay, no, I can see that being fun then. First car.
Red Cavalier.
A red Cavalier. Cavaliers. Yeah. There's a lot of Cavaliers back in the day. How old are you?
I'm turning 34 in June.
Okay. So there was probably a lot of Cavaliers were probably starting to be on their way out by the time you got them. Yeah.
Impalas were on their way in.
Impalas, yeah.
Those were up next.
The what's the other one? I don't know, the other Chevy Cobalt. That was kind of on its way in too. One last one. Most trouble you ever gotten in high school? You can pass if you don't have one, but I'm sure you do.
Which one?
I'm just saying, just pick one. The worst trouble you ever gotten in high school. I mean, if it's like too bad, okay. If you don't want to say it, don't say it.
Smashing some mailboxes and getting caught doing that.
Oh, yeah. Doing that kind of stuff too. All right, I got one more for you, just because it's a simple one. Who is the best NBA player of all time? You got to think about it.
Like, probably pretty generic answer, but I think Michael Jordan.
And there's only a few you can choose from, really, without getting hung. But even, Michael Jordan.
I mean, that's definitely like. You don't think LeBron is, do you?
No, Michael Jordan is totally mine. But like, this is, I mean, people go back and forth. And honestly, it's the stupidest debate ever. It really is. But I figured, hey, let's find out what Vinnie thinks. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Vinnie, thanks again for taking time out of your day to be here. It was truly a pleasure getting to hang out with you.
Thanks for having me, Todd. That was awesome.
Yeah. Listeners, don't forget to subscribe and follow. It is my goal to get a new guest and episode every week. For those early episodes, we will be in together studio only. So if you're near the Michigan area or want to hang out in the podcast, send me a Facebook message and we'll see if we can make it work. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye, guys.